Nida, and today we're going to be making steam buns. This bun is literally so simple to make that anyone can achieve it perfect at their first try. And one thing I love about this bun is that this tastes exactly like ciabatta bread, which I love. As ciabatta bread is a little bit complicated to make, I don't often make that, but I crave to eat it. So if you're just like me, you crave to eat ciabatta bread, this is the best recipe that you can make so soon. And this bun is so good that you can make it as a burger bun, you can make it as a sandwich bun, you can also use it as pav for pav bhaji, and many more things. So without any further ado, let's get on to making this bun.
First, I have 20 ml of milk, and into it I'll add in a tablespoon of sugar. Give that a good mix so that the sugar dissolves. Then add half a teaspoon of rapid rise yeast. Give that a good mix, but make sure you don't overmix or else the yeast won't bloom well. Then let's set this aside for 10 minutes. Then I have 250 grams of all-purpose flour, and into it I'll add a teaspoon of salt. Combine the ingredients well, and then let's set this bowl aside. Next I have 100 ml of water, and into it I'll add a teaspoon of vinegar along with 30 ml of milk. At this point you'll see that the milk starts curdling. Don't worry, that's exactly what we want. Give that a good mix. Also add the rice yeast mixture. Give that a good mix. And then bring back the bowl of the dry ingredients. Pour the yeast mixture. Then you have to knead this dough with your hands for 10 minutes. And in between while kneading, you'll see that the dough is going to be really sticky. But don't be in a hurry. Just keep it as it is. Do not add any more flour. And just keep on kneading it for 10 minutes. And by the end of 10 minutes, you will see that the dough is going to come together and it's no more going to be sticky. But it is going to be slightly sticky just like that, and that's exactly what we want. Let's set the dough aside. Next I have a bowl, grease it with some oil, place the dough and flip it around a few times so that the oil gets surrounded with the dough, and then cover it with a piece of damp cloth and set this aside for 2 hours so that the dough rises. After 2 hours, you'll see that the dough is going to rise just like that. And if you remember, we added a very little amount of yeast, which makes it more edible, and that's exactly what we want. So it has risen well, and it formed a nice film on the top also. Then deplete the air and start kneading your dough for another 5 minutes. And if you want to make it easier, you can transfer it to your work area. And before kneading it for 5 minutes, make a small hole or a nice barrier in the between of the dough and add half a teaspoon of baking powder. Then you have to knead it for 5 minutes or until you incorporate all that baking powder in. Once you've kneaded the dough for 5 minutes, start making a perfect ball out of it so that we can cut it into equal parts. Once you've made the ball, cut it into half first. Then make balls out of this dough, and you have to again cut them into half. And you have to repeat this process until you get the desired shape and size of your dough. Now I've cut it and made it into perfect balls. You'll feel that it's very small, but once it rises it's going to be very big. And I've got 8 doughs. Then I have a baking tray over here. You don't have to line it with parchment paper, or you don't even have to grease it with oil. The dough will come out right away. Then you have to place each of these balls Make sure you leave a lot of space between each of the ball, because once we keep it for rising, it's gonna become so large that it's gonna stick to each other. Then, now I've placed all the balls. There is a lot of space between each other, or else when it bakes and rises, it's gonna become too large. Now I'll do the same thing with the rest of my dough. Then I have another baking tray over here. As it is steam bun, it's not necessary that you can only steam it. You can also bake this in the oven, but there is just gonna be a light difference in the consistency of it, but the taste is gonna remain the same. You do the same thing. You don't have to grease it or line it with parchment paper. Just keep your balls right in the same way. Make sure you leave a lot of space between each other. Then I'm going to set this aside for 1.5 hours so that it rises. Now the dough has risen. Let's open up the plastic wrap, and you'll see that it's going to be nicely flat, and it'll form a nice film on top. And you can see it has attached together, and that's exactly why I told you to leave a lot of space between each other. And this is fine. If it attaches a little bit, that is fine, but make sure it doesn't attach too much. So leave a lot of space. Then the other batch of the dough is also in the same way. It has a nice film on top and it has attached together. This I'm gonna keep it in a preheated oven for baking. Next, for steaming it, I have a nice tall pan. Make sure it's really tall, and you should fill it around 1/4 of it with water. You need a lot of water for this. And then you're going to keep another pan on top which has nice holes so that the steam comes and directly hits the bun and the cooking process becomes faster. Then you place the batch of buns, and then you have to steam this for 10 minutes on medium to low heat. Make sure you close the lid and steam it. Next, after 10 minutes, you'll see that the dough is going to be very good. When you touch it on top, you'll feel that it is baked. Now let's set it aside for cooling. You can also transfer it to a cooling rack. After that's cooled, try lifting a bun and separating it. You'll know how good it is. It's not at all hard to make. It's really easy to make. It's so soft and spongy. The down part is also just perfect. Let me just pinch it to it and show you. It's gonna be very stretchy. It's gonna be very soft. You can see the inside. It's just so soft and it's so spongy. It's really good to go with anything. You can eat it as pav, you can eat it as sandwich, and you can make any shape out of it also. Next, this is the batch that I kept in the oven, and you can see there is a slight difference, but I'm sure the inside is just the same. You can see the back side also. It's pretty hot. I actually burnt my hand. Once that's cooled, let me just show you. The sides are really crispy. It's just the same, there's no difference. Only difference is that we baked it and the texture from outside is a little bit more different. But the inside is just same. It's just as soft and it's just good. And that is how we made the steam bun. You can just not believe how soft it is.
Thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked it, and if you did, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up down below. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Thanks once again, and bye-bye.